Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Farah Firoz ID94 from Group 6. So Mobil Jamuna Limited is one of the biggest distributors and blenders of Mobil. They have been doing business in Bangladesh for over 35 years and have incorporated IT and IS in their system for over a decade now. We went to their office and interviewed the Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Shafquat Mahmud Fahmi, and got to know a lot about their IT department. So today we'll be looking at MJL through the lens of MIS, starting with the ERP software, Enterprise Resource Planning. As we already know that the ERP system enables or eases out our decision-making process and helps us in having more accuracy in data interpretation. In such a case, MJL adopted their in-house ERP system in 2004. Primarily, half of this software was developed by a third-party agency, and later on, the development team of MJL adopted it. However, once they started using it, they encountered a couple of drawbacks, which led to the reasons why they had to quit the software. One of which was data redundancy and inconsistency. So once they were shifting through different platforms, the master data, the values in the master data was changing across the sub-modules. Hence, it was creating silos of data. They were working in isolation instead of having a collaborative and consultative approach to it. This is the reason why they adopted the SAP software and officially launched it on August 1st, 2021, during the COVID-19 pandemic time. So the module that they adopted is S/4HANA, which is a module-centric core database. Now that we know a little about the S/4HANA, let's look into the different modules that it integrates in it. The first one is the SD module, which focuses on sales and distribution. In the manual part, what MJL wants to do is sell products through the sales and distribution, for which they draft a couple of picking lists, which is done in accordance to the customer's requirements and caters to the needs of the customers. Once this is done, they deliver the picking list in two different methods. One is for the small amount of products, for example, a drum or a carrier. This is the one that, these are the ones that the customers pick directly from the Mobil house. And the ones which are a little large in number, for example, 2 to 3 metric tons. For this, MJL has a bulk carrier that eases the process of delivery and delivers it right at the customer's plant. And for the data that is collected in the SD module comes from a central pricing module. In this central pricing module, we have information like the product information, suppliers information, pricing rate, etc. This works as a master data that is integrated in the rest of the modules as well. Now, moving on to the MM module, which focuses on material management or material resource planning, MRP. In this case, it deals with two different types of products. One is the locally produced one, for example, Delwood, and the imported one. So starting from the sourcing of raw materials to the sourcing of imported goods, they open up LCs and enter data in the LCs. The LCs cannot be opened up by MJL themselves, so the bank helps them, and the data that is entered in this LC is collected through the SAP software. Once this is done, the master data in the SD module is integrated in this one, and the supplier's information, product information, etc. are integrated in this. After that, we move on to the estimated cost sheet, which is done by the vendors. In this estimated cost sheet, we might have the estimated date of arrival, the vessels that would carry the products, etc. And after the vendors present the estimated cost sheet, it is aligned with the projected cost sheet of the other cross-functional departments and aligns it with the final business objectives. Once we're done with this, we move into the financial module, which will be discussed by Ibtesham.
Thank you, Piu. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Ibtesham Iftekhar, role 10. So now moving on from the SD and the MM module, we have the financial module. So the financial module in this case for SAP S/4HANA is the central module. It's the key module that plays the major part in the whole ERP system. All the entries starting from sales and distributions to material management all the way to purchasing and development, everything, all entries are sent directly to the finance module. This is sent basically to document and monitor all the cost of all such processes. Each of these processes or the operations that they endeavor, these processes have fixed costs, and these costs need to be documented and monitored as a single set of values to reduce data inconsistency, data redundancy. All these are sent to the finance module, and this is done monthly, on a monthly basis, because according to MJL, the more frequently it is done, the better, the more updated the information they get. The another part of the financial module that it plays a major role in is it manages the LCs, the lines of credit, as previously mentioned by Piu. Since one bank cannot fully always finance the whole operational processes, sometimes different LCs are needed. These require tons of data, from historical data to other forecasting methods. All these are primarily handled by the financial module itself. The financial module plays a major role in setting the product price. So the product price is set specifically, firstly, from the finding out the cost of goods manufactured. These are found by documenting the processes and how much of each material is required. Finally, getting the cost of goods manufactured, as we know as CGM. This later on helps us to determine the cost of goods sold. And once the cost of goods sold is found, once we add in other operational expenses, MJL finds a product price, keeping in mind their profit margin as well. This product price is then set based on the requirements for each of the product categories, be it Mobil 1 or Dell Vacuum X. Next, we have the financial module's key part, and the financial module, the way it works is that it helps in reporting. So how it helps in reporting? It provides data. It provides data to help in decision making. Basically, it consolidates all the nitty-gritty, all the small details, small costs, and gives a full report. These reports, be it in Excel sheets or crystal reports or whatever the users prefer, in this case, it helps in decision making from middle management all the way to top management. Here, mostly middle management does get reports from the system, because from the lower management to the middle management, these reports help in managing the operational processes. But the reports are presented to the executive, or in this case, upper management, in dashboard forms. Dashboard forms are basically are forms which have a fixed format. They specifically consolidate all the detailed information into the required information that the executives will need, that are relevant to them. These relevant informations then help in decision making, be it from a change in sales amount, being change in any of their campaigns or any of their policies, or even changing banks for better LCs. In this case, as I said, it's done monthly, because MJL believes the more frequently it is done, the better. So moving on from the financial module, we saw what the modules of the SAP S/4HANA work as. Now we move on to how the access is given for the SAP. The access is given almost to all the relevant employees. As we got to know from their CTO, they have 180 employees currently working in MJL, and they have given the access of the SAP S/4HANA to 116 of them. Now, 116 of them each get different categories of access. The ones who are at entry level, who basically do the data entries, get a display to show how the data entry is being portrayed, and they get access to that limited amount, required for their operational efficiency. Departments also, each departments also get their accesses as they required, but these are fragmented. The full consolidated access is given to the upper management, where although they see the consolidated reports, if they want to, they can dig in deep through the SAP module itself. Now, what SAP or S/4HANA requires, especially for operations in Bangladesh, is a VAT software. So VAT is required for almost many of the operational processes that MJL conducts. So in this case, they have a VAT software. Now, the VAT software, if they go through their own development, that causes problems in proper management. Hence, they use enlisted software, in this case VAT in 365 by NBR, that is the National Board of Revenues of Bangladesh, have their enlisted softwares called VAT 365, and that is what they use. They integrated this software directly with their ERP, in this case SAP. They have this integrated directly into the system in order to calculate VAT more efficiently and in a more automated manner so as to not waste more manual labor for it. This VAT software requires a significant amount of VAT dependent data, as these data as from the entry level process from importing all the way to sales, that is required. Hence, this software helps in even more efficiency in this regard. We'll move on to the next part for performance metrics by my next teammate.
Thank you, Ibtesham. Assalamu alaikum, sir. I am Saadat Mustafiz Khan, ID 78. To start, let's talk about performance metrics. Now, we have to understand that 60% of all employees in this company are sales-based. So, a high-level task percentage is used to evaluate employees. To form this metric, employees' performances were tracked manually, and then they were divided percentage-wise. For example, if I take a look at a network admin, maintaining the network in the building has around 30% of the weight on his task. Similar percentages are made for all employees' tasks and responsibilities. HR then makes evaluation grades like A+, A, and B and uses that to evaluate employees. These grades are simultaneously checked by each department as well, and if necessary, a bell curve is used for this matter. This process can also be done using the success factor of the SAP, but it's user cloud based and it is too expensive to be feasible. Now, going on to my next topic, which is autonomous ERP. Now, this system gives employees autonomous actions because entries are given by each employee. However, this has a drawback as well. The information is passed from one employee to another in almost like a series pattern. So if one employee delays or makes an error, the brunt of it will also be faced by the employees next in line. There are two major problems that occur here. The first one is increased lead time. Due to the latency between initiation and completion of a process, the lead time also increases. Secondly, it increases the costs as well. However, all employees are given special ERP training before using the software. It's where they learn how it works and how all employees need to be coordinated and corresponding places for the system to be efficient. The training also shows how the mistake of one employee affects the work of the next. These training helps the company to minimize the drawbacks of the ERP system. That is all from me, sir. And on to my next teammate.
Thank you, Saadat. Assalamu alaikum, sir. I am Tahmid Iqbal, ID 60. Now I would be talking about the next part of this presentation. So while talking to the CTO, Mr. Shafquat, we got to know that MGL got the achievement due to the IS system. MGL is the first company to finish the whole development of SAP in 9 months, that too during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they also streamlined the whole process. And in this pandemic, they trained their employees and made them capable of using the whole IS system and got them adapted to the situation. And for this, they were awarded with the ACE Award, which is globally given for advancement in IS sector. Now, moving next. If we take the look at the so far, we have seen how Mobil MGL Bangladesh is working with their ERP system. Now we will be discussing about the MIS benefits they are gaining through the implementation of MIS in their company. Firstly, if we take a note, we will see about the financial management benefit. In financial management benefit, the sales and distribution were smoothened by the whole process by integrating all the data inputs through their ERP software. Secondly, in material management, merged all data, including LC data, which made the whole process very efficient. And thirdly, the financial module. All financial modules were done accurately and regularly through the softwares. Now, the big challenge was to bring their factory and production unit under this MIS an ERP-based system where the product individuality is maintained, because Mobil One believes in giving the unique product to everyone, and for which their secrecy is maintained into the main product recipes, or what we say for the mobile making process. There, in plant, they have changed the LC names to keep the confidentialities. The product will be similar throughout the whole world. That's why they're providing the same blend and same recipe to everyone. And due to the automated blending process in the factory, each valve open with a computerized system, which is also integrated in this MIS through MIS. And then when the product is made and done, they are sent for quality check. And after the quality check, again, the correction until the perfect, they redo the whole process until perfection is gained. And finally, the whole process is linked to the labs to get the accurate data. So finally, when we take a look at the whole process, this whole process is integrated through the ERP system and the MIS technologies they are using. So that was all from me. And now I would be handing over the floor to my next teammate.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Fahim, role 34. With everyone here, I also agree on the benefits of the ERP system. It's a comprehensive system covering all corners of the organization and is a central hub of fully integrated data. But as everything is based on data, we can also say data is responsible for the success of the system as well. The system analyzes the data, but the workers are still responsible for the input of the data. So this creates a scope of human error. So what I would like to discuss is the probability of error in Mobil Jamuna Limited. MJL actually has several strategies that helps the organization reduce the probability of error. MJL uses internal audits to review each module to check and see whether all the modules are working functionally and accordingly. Work at MJL is divided into teams, and each team has access to a certain section of the ERP system, which in turn we can call module. So each module represents the function of the team, and by evaluating the performance of the team, internal audits can also determine the success rate of each module. And this is based on the checker-maker concept. Here, all the internal review is not only done by the higher-ups, but also by the workers. The principle means that for each and every agenda, there will be at least 2 individuals reviewing it. MJL also uses their trial balance to detect any accounting and financial errors. But most importantly, MJL places high value on educating their employees. Employees are continuously trained on an annual basis so that they can fully utilize the ERP system, because as we know, users are the main components of the ERP's success. Moving on, in our interview, we also got to learn that even though efficiency has improved, there are still some aspects where we can say manual system was easier. Firstly, in the ERP system, everything is run according to rules. Even the exceptions that the system allows has certain conditions set. However, as MJL is a very large business, they still face some scenarios where it is difficult to put into the system. Thus, it affects customer satisfaction. And as each scenario is different and it has different variables, it makes it harder to identify the root of the problem and code it into the system. And because of sometimes MJL has to face some minor, and because of this, MJL has to sometimes face minor delivering issues and packaging delays. Thank you. That will be all from my side.
Thank you so much, Fahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Fayeza Fahmida, role 92. So we have almost come to the end of our discussion. My previous teammates have talked about the integration of information system in different organizational levels and business processes. Now, when we asked Mr. Shafquat, the CTO of Mobil, about the need of improvement, he told us that constant improvement is definitely required. He told us how they have recently improved the implementation of IS in MJL. They recently introduced an app for the sales team, which helps them to monitor their field trips and manage their tasks. But one of the challenges that they faced while implementing this change is that the employees started to think that the management was not actually trusting them. But that was not the issue. And through discussions, MJL could make them understand the usefulness of this app. Next comes the improvement in the dashboard for the executives, which usually have different KPIs, which indicates different spikes and downs. For example, in matrix tones versus litter. And this helps in better decision making. Finally, he mentioned ABAP, which is the SAP core development. MJL has a number of ABAP developers who constantly work to improve the system on a regular basis. Now we'll be moving on to shared human resource. Now, one of the things that I loved about MJL is their concept of shared HR, or what we can call is multitasking. MJL has a considerably small portion of HR working in their headquarters. So most employees work as shared HR. For example, the guy working in the payable portion of the finance department can be asked to make a report on, say, receivables, but this should definitely be done within his scope. And their ERP system makes this whole process simpler by making required accurate data available to that employee. Now, the last portion that we'll be covering is how SAP can help in the employee growth scale. So it has been said previously that SAP development required intense training as the employees need skills to operate it efficiently. So when an employee knows how to use their SAP system, his or her value automatically increases. And that person will get more opportunities and preference as they know more about the operational level work in an organization. So in conclusion, we can say that the ERP system of Mobil increased their efficiency. All in all, this whole interview was very insightful for all of us, as we could actually know the practical use of the things that we learned in our MIS course. We have had an amazing time doing this assignment. That will be all from Group 6. Thank you so much for being with us.